Hello, Education2301. Here is your week 6 explanation. The next special population that we're going to be looking at is race. So with this, they're going to be due May 1st, next Friday. There is an article to read, videos to watch, and then we're going to have a discussion about race. And then you'll have your time log. So here are the videos over race that I have. So this article was written earlier. Let me get the year on this one. This one is 2003. So I know it's an older article, but it offers some good insight into some of the struggles that we're going to be dealing with. Now, when we look at each of these populations, so when we look at English language learners, when we look at students of color, when we go look at their testing scores, they test lower than white and Asian students. And the reason is why. We know that they're just as smart and just as capable. So what is it that's causing the discrepancy in their scores? And that's what we're trying to investigate. And this article brings out very good points into what is happening. Some of these carry on into when we look at socioeconomic status here in a couple of weeks. These are some report cards where it goes into looking at testing scores. This one is, hold on, PowerPoint, and it goes along with the race article. So if we were in a face-to-face class, we would be going and doing this. So go ahead and look at the report cards, talk about implicit bias. And these are unconscious leanings, and you're welcome to go into, this is out of Harvard, to participate into it. You can go into social attitudes. You can go in as a free person, and there's a lot of tests you can take, and what it has to do is you have to accept. And then they have all these quizzes that you can take. So maybe you are more biased towards one age than the other, more biased towards Asian being foreign born, people with disability, race, religion, sexuality. There's all these quizzes that you can take to show bias. And I think part of the issue is we don't realize the biases that already exist in our lives. I don't know that a lot of people think, oh, I'm racist, but I don't think we understand the underlying biases that we come into the classroom with. So these are articles about strategies to use in the classroom. Now my internet's super slow because you know everybody is on it. And so these are strategies we can use in the classroom. And the whole thing is it ties into culture too. Race and culture, they blend together. And to try and separate them sometimes isn't easy. And so the whole thing is are you representing all of the children in your classroom equally? Are you reading information by Asian authors, Latino authors, Black authors? Then here's some videos. She talks about why diversity isn't enough. Here's the doll test. Some of these are going to cross over into your race. Here's the danger of the single story. It's a powerful model. And if you think about it, we do think of, and look at me, I'm making assumptions. There are people out there who think that Africa is a country instead of a continent. And within Africa, there are lots of countries. And not all those countries get along, and each one has their own culture as well. I'm on a different laptop than my regular one. And so these pictures should show up for you. This talks about like children's literature and how much reflects Latin children, Asian children, African American children, white children. It's an interesting picture to look at. We are then going to be having a discussion on race after you read all of that information and think about it. I know it's a very sensitive topic each time in the hybrid class. This is the conversation where I don't have a lot of people talking, and I think that's part of our problem. We don't talk about it. We don't feel safe. Like, who am I as a middle-aged white woman um, who grew up in the upper middle class to say that I can speak to somebody else's experience as well and to say that I understand it. And I think we're coming to that point where we can do that. But I do want to understand it. I do want to be aware of it. I think we need to talk about it because we have children that we can help in the classroom. And this is just one layer of who they are. You know, my husband just isn't a Chinese man, you know. Um, he's many other things. He's got different abilities. He's grew up in a different socioeconomic status. He's male. There's lots of layers to people, but we have to understand this layer as well. So after viewing the video and the race articles, what are your thoughts about race and its impact and influence in the classroom? And how do we offer a level playing field? So your initial post is going to be due by next Wednesday, and then your 2 comments by May 1st. Here's a link to that. You do have to make your post first before you see other people's posts. Then you're going to have your time log and journal. Let me know if you find another link to the video that's not right. Yeah. I'll pause this while it loads. Oh, here it goes. So here is going to be your time log for race. This is the class divided. This is, you couldn't do this in today's society. Get that off there. Hold on. Going away. This is an experiment or a activity that this teacher did back in the 60s, right after Martin Luther King Jr. was assassinated. And then they did a 2020 special on it 20 years later. And I really want you to watch the first part of it because it was a very homogenous group of children. They were all white. And how do you experience feeling? Anyway, I'll let you watch the video. But that's the one that I want you to think about when you're watching the in the discussion as well. So when we get to this, I've got 2 on here, this one, and they're not specifically talking about race, because if you were in the classroom, in a general education classroom, you wouldn't specifically be hearing strategies about race. You would be watching a teacher interact with students and using your skills of observation to see, is there a minority of students here? What is the ratio of children? What is the race of the teacher? What is the race of the children? Does it seem to make any difference? What kind of posters are on the wall? What kind of readings are they doing? Those different types of things. And so I want you to practice that when you are going back and reflecting on this. And since there's only 2 hours of video here, there's less content as opposed to the special education one. So this is your weekly explanation.